So I've had a few people reach out to me and they wanted me to talk about healing. So I'm going to do that, but not in the way that people usually talk about healing. I'm going to talk about it from the science, and I talk about it pretty extensively in my new book on the problem, the science behind why we self-sabotage. And the truth is most people talk about healing like it's a choice, right? Like one day you're going to wake up and say, I'm done being sad. I'm done thinking about them. I'm done being hurt. And then you just move on with your life, right? But let me tell you something, if it was that simple, people would not stay in relationships that hurt them. And I am proof of this. People wouldn't go back to people who lied to them. People wouldn't replay the same memories over and over in their heads. So then the question becomes, if people know that something isn't good for them, why do they still go back? Why do they think about it? Why do they still feel stuck? And the answer is, it's not weakness. The answer is not that you don't want to heal. The real answer is that there are different parts of your brain running different programs, and they're not all on the same page. That's what we're going to talk about here. And there's three major players: your amygdala, your basal ganglia, and the prefrontal cortex. So we're going to jump right into it. Your amygdala, number one, it's the size of a walnut towards the center of the brain. The amygdala is the part of your brain that's responsible for fear, emotional memory, and threat detection. Its job is not to make you happy. Its job is to keep you safe. And the amygdala is always asking one question: is this safe or is this dangerous? But here's the problem. The amygdala doesn't understand the difference between physical danger and emotional danger. To the amygdala, heartbreak feels like danger. Rejection feels like danger. Being abandoned feels like danger. Being ignored feels like danger. So when someone leaves you, cheats on you, lies to you, or hurts you emotionally, the amygdala records it like it's some traumatic event. And the amygdala is very, very good at remembering emotional pain. That's why you can still remember the tone of their voice, the look on their face, the exact word they said. That's not you being dramatic. That's your amygdala storing emotional memory. So when you try to move on, but something reminds you of them, a place, a smell, a song, your amygdala fires again and says, danger, we've been here before. And then your body responds with anxiety, racing thoughts, tight chest, overthinking, replaying memories. Remember, your amygdala is trying to protect you from being hurt again. But the problem is sometimes the amygdala keeps you attached to the very thing that hurt you because it's trying to make sense of the pain. And that's where we talk about the prefrontal cortex, the logical brain. This is the one that does the thinking, the decision making. This is the part of your brain that says something like this: this relationship isn't healthy. I deserve better. I need to move on. I need to focus on my life. So now you have a war happening inside your head, right? You've got your amygdala, safety, emotional attachment, relief from pain, and then you have your prefrontal cortex, logic, long-term decision making, self-respect. And logically, you know what to do, but emotionally, you feel something different. And this is what's very important, is that the amygdala is faster than the prefrontal cortex. That's what it was designed to do. So that way, when there's a danger, the emotion happens before the logical brain can react. And that's why a lot of people say, I shouldn't text them, but I did. I know I shouldn't go back, but I did. I know they're not good for me, but I still love them. It's not stupidity. That's the brain's wiring. And then lastly, the basal ganglia, which is the habit brain. This is the part almost nobody talks about, but the basal ganglia is the part of your brain responsible for habits, patterns, automatic behaviors, routines, emotional patterns. You see, the basal ganglia's job is to turn repeated behaviors into automatic behaviors so that your brain doesn't have to think about them anymore. And this is how habits form. For example, driving a car becomes automatic. Brushing your teeth becomes automatic. Drinking coffee every morning becomes automatic. Relationships can become habits. Emotional pains can become habits. Thinking about someone can become a habit. If for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you text them every morning, you talk to them every night, you go to them when you're sad, you go to them when you're feeling lonely, your brain builds a habit loop. You feel the emotion, you see the person, you get relief. So now when you feel lonely, sad, stressed, scared, hurt, or anxious, your brain doesn't say, what's the healthiest decision? Your brain says, run the program, run the pattern, run the habit. And that habit is them. That's why people don't just miss the person, they miss the pattern, they miss the routine, they miss the emotional habit. Now let's tie all of that together and why you keep replaying the same story. And it's because the amygdala is trying to understand the pain to avoid future pain. Your prefrontal cortex is trying to logically solve the problem. And then your basal ganglia is replaying the habit loop and the emotional pattern. So your brain is literally stuck in a loop. So the same thoughts play over and over again. This is why people say, I just want closure. I just want to understand why. I just want to know what I did wrong. Because the brain hates unresolved emotional situations. And it'll keep replaying the story, trying to find an ending that makes sense. And you see, healing is so hard because it's not just emotional healing. Healing is neurological, it's psychological, it's emotional, it's habitual. You're not just getting over a person, you're rewiring emotional memory, your amygdala. You're rewiring decision making, your prefrontal cortex. You're rewiring habits and patterns, your basal ganglia. You are literally rewiring your brain, and that takes time. But the good news is that's neuroplasticity. The brain can change because you can change your habits, you can change your environment, you can change your routines, you can change your self talk. Because every time you build a new behavior, you're building new neural pathways. It's not that you don't want to move on, it's the part of your brain that still thinks holding on is safer than letting go. So if you're struggling to heal, be patient with yourself. You're not weak, you're not broken. You are rewiring your brain that learned to survive before it ever learned how to let go. And for anybody listening, I hope that helped. I know there's a lot of science in that, but truth be told, it starts up here in your brain if you want to heal. Change your thoughts, change your life.